Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Screen Stars. I have another movie review today, and it is the horror stroke thriller drama Get Out, which is fairly newly released. This was a movie that um, I didn't know a huge amount about until it came out, and it was getting glowing reviews left, right, and centre. Um, but still, I don't know why. The trailer didn't really grab me, and it wasn't a film that overly interested me. Um, but I had the opportunity to watch it the other day, and I did. And I have to say, I absolutely thoroughly enjoyed this movie. It is a really, really good film. Um, and the basic story here is there's a guy called Chris, and who's a black male, and he has a girlfriend called Rose who's white. They are due to go up and meet Rose's parents who live out in the country somewhere, and naturally Chris is apprehensive about this, and he asks her, do they know I'm black? And she's like, no, but it doesn't matter at all. They're not racist in any way, shape or form, and you don't need to worry. So he's okay with it. They get out there, meet the family, and right off the bat, really, there is just something off. There's just something not right. Um, Little things that they say, like, "Oh, if I could have voted for Obama for a third term, I would have done." And just the general conversation and the atmosphere. From the moment he gets to the parents' house, you're on edge. You tense immediately because you just feel there's something not right, and it does. It just kind of continues to escalate. The first night he's there because the parents find out he smokes, and Rosa's mother is like a therapist and and she does hypnotize. She hypnotizes people, and she offers to hypnotize him to stop him smoking, and he refuses. But that night he tries to go out for a cigarette, and she waits for him when he comes back in, and she, without his knowledge really or consent, she hypnotizes him, but not really to stop him smoking. It's something else. It it's just really weird what she does. She like sends him to this sunken place in his mind, and using stirring like this tea, and he wakes up the next morning. There's a big party. All these folk turn up, um, and it just gets more and more creepy. There's like there's a couple of random black people that work at the house who just do not act right at all. There's a lady, and there's a guy who works in like the yard brushing and chopping wood, and who's black, and he tries to strike up conversations with them both, and it's just not. They're not talking how they should. They're not reacting how they should. There's just something not right. There's, as you see in the picture on the screen now, there's a black chap turns up at a party with an elderly woman who is the least black person you'd ever meet. He doesn't behave at all how he should, and Chris is getting more and more creeped out by this. Um, and they're all, it's like making weird comments about how much they love Tiger Woods and things like that, and it's really, black is really in fashion and all this kind of stuff, and it just really creeps you out. And it just keeps escalating and escalating, and you're never able to relax with this movie. It's directed superbly, absolutely wonderfully, paced just right. You can't relax with it, but there's undertones of humour as well. It's a very, very, very dark comedy underneath, but when it does something funny, you kind of feel guilty that you just laughed at it. It's really weird. It makes you feel uncomfortable, and I guess that was the point of what the director, and I believe he wrote it as well. It's Jordan Peele who did the Keanu movie, you know, with a cat, and he's very famous in America, but I feel like I don't know him particularly well. But for his first directorial debut, I think this is, or certainly one of them, it's expertly done. I really, really cannot praise this movie highly enough. It absolutely kept me on the edge of my seat throughout. The payoff at the end is wonderful. It's just what I wanted. Um, and I'm so glad I saw this movie. I think it's one of those hidden gems. I believe it was made on a shoestring budget, and it's absolutely blown the box office away, and it so deserved to. Very original, very tense, um, very, very good movie. I mean, don't get me wrong. There are a couple of issues I do have with the movie. There's a plot hole that you could kind of drive your tank through. That if you actually sit and analyse it afterwards, you're just thinking, yeah, that doesn't really happen. You know, somebody would have investigated it by now. And there's another one right at the end regarding, if you like, I don't want to give any spoilers away, and I don't want to say too much because it would give spoilers away, but there's one right at the end, and you're just thinking, how did he do that? So if you actually sit and analyse it, there are a couple of issues with this movie that can't be denied in regards to those, but overall, an absolute gem of a movie this, and I would definitely highly recommend it. Very good indeed.